My dear students, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to give you answer question of the lesson every morning I wake, which are likely to be asked in the upcoming examination. Let's get started.
Learn English with Lasmar.
Whom does the poet call poor creatures and why? Give reason. The poet calls the people under Milkwood, including himself, poor creatures because they are fragile human beings powerless before God's greatness. Their lives are uncertain, caught between life and death, and full of weaknesses. By using this phrase, the poet highlights man's dependence on divine mercy. It shows how human beings, despite their flaws, remain under God's care and need His protection for survival and hope. Do you agree or disagree with the poet's impression about the magnificence of God? Answer. I agree with the poet's impression about God's magnificence. God is shown as merciful, kind, and forgiving, who always sees the goodness in human beings rather than only their sin. This belief gives hope to the people of Milkwood who live fragile and uncertain lives. God's magnificence lies in His compassion as He provides strength, guidance, and love, making people feel protected and reassured in their daily struggle. Why does the poet pray early in the morning? The poet prays early in the morning because morning represents purity, freshness, and new beginnings. By starting the day with prayer, he seeks blessings and mercy not just for himself but for the people of Milkwood. He wants God's guidance and protection through the day. This act of morning prayer also shows his humility and faith as he entrusts human weaknesses and life's uncertainties to God's divine care.
Explain the following line with reference to the context. And though I know we'll be the first to see our best side, not our worst. These lines are extracted from the poem Every Morning I Wake in the play Under Milkwood by Dylan Thomas. In this poem, the poet expresses faith in God's mercy, believing he sees people's goodness rather than just their sins. The poor creatures of Milkwood, though weak and flawed, are viewed with compassion. This reflects the poet's trust in God's forgiving nature, offering comfort and reassurance that his judgment is kind and understanding.
How does the rhyme scheme of the poem reinforce the message? The poem has a simple and regular rhyme scheme which gives it the sound of a prayer or hymn. This musical flow reinforces the spiritual message by making it sincere and devotional, just as prayer is meant to be pure and heartfelt. The rhyme scheme makes the poem easy to recite and remember. It highlights humility, faith, and trust in God, strengthening the poet's message of devotion and hope. Why do the inhabitants of Milkwood bow to the setting sun but just for now? The inhabitants of Milkwood bow to the setting sun is a symbol of respect for the natural cycle of life and death. However, they bow just for now because they still hope for another dawn and a new chance to live. This attitude reflects their acceptance of life uncertainty while also keeping faith in tomorrow. It shows their balance between surrendering to fate and remaining hopeful for renewal. Discuss every morning I wake as a prayer to God. The poem Every Morning I Wake can be read as a heartfelt prayer where the speaker acknowledges the gift of each new day. Waking in the morning becomes more than a routine. It is a moment of gratitude towards God for preserving life through the night and offering another chance to live meaningfully. The simple act of rising is elevated into a sacred experience, reminding us that life itself is divine grace. The prayerful tone also conveys humility and trust in God's will. The speaker places the uncertainty of each day into God's hand, seeking protection and guidance. By linking waking with spiritual reflection, the poem transforms an ordinary moment into an act of devotion. It affirms that human existence depends not on personal strength but on God's mercy, making every morning an opportunity to renew faith and strengthen one's bond with the divine. How does the poet depict the uncertainty of life and death? The poet emphasizes that life is fragile and unpredictable. Each morning, the poet awakens without assurance that the day will last or that tomorrow will arrive. This awareness reflects the delicate balance between life and death. The poet suggests that our existence is never fully in our control but subject to forces beyond human power. Life's brevity is highlighted through the reminder that death can come suddenly and without warning. At the same time, the poet does not present his uncertainty with despair but with acceptance and faith. By entrusting life and death to God, the poet conveys a spiritual perspective that lessens fear. Uncertainty becomes an invitation to live each day with mindfulness and gratitude. Contrast between waking to life and the possibility of death illustrate the transient nature of human experience, while also affirming faith as a guiding light in the face of mortality.
Why does the poet focus on the God, on his prey and not other creatures? Give a reason. In Every Morning I Wake, the poet focuses on God in his prayer rather than on other creatures because he sees God as the ultimate source of mercy, guidance, and forgiveness. While other creatures may share human struggles, only God has the power to understand the human weakness, look beyond sins, and offer compassionate judgment. Thus, praying to God gives the poet comfort and hope.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe my channel so that you will be notified when I upload next video.